Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Well, welcome to tropical Bowie. Glad to have you here this morning. First, if you'd like to introduce yourself to the council.
Reyniak Richards, or Ray is just fine.
Just your name and tell us who you are.
All right. Well, I am a current professor of chemistry at the Prince George's Community College.
Okay.
Where I've been working there for the past 4 years now. Went to the school, graduated from the University of Maryland with a master's in chemistry. Lived in Bowie for the past 7 years.
Okay, great. All right, well, what we're going to do today is this is a friendly conversation. Each council member will have a question for you. You'll have 15 minutes from the time that the questions begin. And you've done these before, I'm sure, but time management and your answer is up to you. We want you to know that you'll get questions from each council member. Okay. All the activities in this event this morning are being recorded both for Bowie Cable Television. You know, we're a very transparent organization. None of it will be presented until after all of the interviews are conducted. But I do need you to know that like I say, your 15 minutes will begin with the first question, and we'll start off with Mr. Marcos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Richards, for being here today and your interest. My question is, how do you feel about going forward with residential and commercial development in Bowie? And what do you think the relationship between the county and Bowie should be with regards to that development?
I think there should be a good balance between both the residential and commercial development. Obviously, we don't want to have one prioritized over the other. I think it's important that we have a lot of input from all of the community members, because that's who it's going to affect the most. We don't want to have a lot of commercial development and that's going to impact traffic or other things, or even if it's commercial things that the community doesn't want at all. So I think that should be a very open and transparent discussion to make sure that any commercial that comes in is something that the actual members of the community actually need.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Trout.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Richards, for being here to apply. My question is, what do you think is the most important issue in Bowie, and how do you plan to make improvements?
I think one of the most important issues in Bowie is ensuring that our educational standards are very well met. I plan on doing that by ensuring that not only all of our school resources, I'm so used to talking about the college, but our school resources at the elementary and the high school are well met from all the professors and the teachers there, but also that we have additional resources for our community members to go to in order to get more educational edification. So I know that we have the Sears building that we're trying to think about redeveloping. It would be wonderful if we could have, in addition to some of the community things that were proposed, like maybe a children's museum or other wonderful activities that could help build up our education of the populace.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Richards, for coming out this morning. My statement to you is, it is my opinion that local government is the most important level of government. Explain why you either agree with me or disagree.
I do agree with that statement, that it is important, and I think that's because at that level, the local level, is where people are, first of all, most able to interact with the government. So I think it's very easy to get detached when you see a lot of the larger races, presidential races or anything like that. Maybe my vote doesn't count or my voice isn't being heard, but at the local level, that's a lot easier for us to have like a face-to-face conversation with the actual members of the community.
Thank you, Mr. Richards.
Thank you. Mr. Wolfley.
Good morning, and thanks for coming this morning, and thanks for volunteering to potentially step forward and serve the community in the future. My question for you is this. To date, how have you chosen to serve the city of Bowie? For example, have you served on a city committee, run for office, been on a homeowner association, PTA, or the like, whatever? And number two, how will that help you represent your future constituents?
So as currently, most of my work hasn't been in the city of Bowie as itself. It's mostly been for Prince George's Community as a whole. So I haven't done a lot of actual volunteer work or working in the actual Bowie community. However, I feel like all of my experiences, especially working with mainly a lot of the high schools in the Prince George's community, as well as a lot of the elementary schools, I have a good understanding of what the educational needs are, and I feel like that will help me in order to bring those concerns onto the council and help build that up in the future.
Excellent, thank you.
Mr. Staff.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This question is specific to District 3. The Sears location at Bowie Town Center is closing. The owners of the property are planning a mixed-use development on the site. What are your thoughts on the matter?
So I kind of addressed that before, but I believe that it shouldn't be only things that I think are more along the lines of entertainment. I understand entertainment is wonderful and it helps bring in revenue to the community, but I also think it should be things that helps to benefit the community for the residents who actually live here. Things like maybe just an open use area to hold conferences or meeting places for people to meet, have meetings of different things, maybe just regular meetups, maybe they want to have game nights where somewhere the actual community could come and have a nice safe place to do those activities.
All right, well, thank you much. All right, now we'd like to give you an opportunity to tell us about you and what message you would like to leave behind.
Well, I mentioned before, I am a professor of chemistry at the community college here, and I think being a scientist has really gave me the impression that we can use our scientific method in order to help build up the community as well. I think a lot of times it's a distinction between the lab or doing things in a classroom and actually how the government is run. I think we could actually coalesce those two things and bring them together. The scientific method is basically we have hypotheses, we think what can happen, have a lot of observations, and then reevaluate and make changes, and I think that we can bring that same process to the city council and to government and help make it everything better.
All right, well, thank you. Well, like I told you earlier, we got interviews today, and then we got interviews Tuesday night and Wednesday night. So hopefully the conclusion will take all its information, and bring it there and make a selection. And we'll let everybody know as soon as we can. But well, thank you very much for coming by.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your time.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
all the council members. All right, enjoy your Saturday.
Thank you.
All right.